Have you ever sat quietly in a room full of your own family and still felt invisible? Maybe your grown children barely call anymore. When they do visit, it's like they're doing you a favor. They speak over you, brush off your opinions, or treat you like you're no longer capable of thinking for yourself, asterisk. And you're not alone, asterisk. Many parents over 60 find themselves in this exact place, wondering how the children they raised with love, care, and sacrifice somehow grew distant, disrespectful, or even cold. It's confusing, sometimes heartbreaking, and it can leave you feeling powerless. But here's the truth, you are not powerless, asterisk. Today, we're going to talk about something many people don't dare say out loud. If your adult children don't respect you anymore, don't beg. Don't argue. Don't let that disrespect define your worth. Instead, take back your dignity quietly, powerfully, and with grace. Asterisk, this video is not about pointing fingers or playing the victim. It's about regaining your strength, shifting your mindset, and living with the self-respect you deserve. Asterisk, let's start with something that seems small but carries enormous power. Stop chasing their approval. Asterisk, you see, when we chase respect or love from anyone, especially from our own children, we hand them control over our peace. We try harder, speak softer, give more, shrink ourselves, hoping it will make them see us, value us, love us like they used to. But often the more we give, the less they see us. The more we bend, the less they care. Asterisk, so here's what I want you to do. Pause, breathe, and stop chasing. You've already done your part. You raised them. You gave your best years, your sleep, your sacrifices. You don't need to prove your worth anymore. You don't need to buy their time or beg for their attention. Your value doesn't decrease just because someone stopped noticing it. Asterisk, when you stop chasing, you create space. Space for them to notice your absence. Space for you to remember who you are beyond being a parent. You're not just someone's mother or father. You're a human being with dreams, wisdom, and life still flowing through you. Asterisk now. That doesn't mean you slam the door or build a wall. It means you gently step back and reclaim your space. If they call, you answer with kindness, but you don't drop everything to fit into their life. If they ignore you, you don't stew in silence. You fill your time with things and people that bring you joy. Asterisk, and that brings me to something even more important. Rebuild your identity outside of parenthood. Asterisk, for decades, your role as a parent might have been your whole world. You cooked, cleaned, paid bills, cheered them on, held their hands, and that's beautiful. But now that they're grown and their lives have taken different directions, your own life needs new roots. Asterisk, what lights you up? What brings you joy? What have you always wanted to try but never had the time for? A painting class? A community garden? A book club? A walking group at the park? Asterisk, this is not about distracting yourself. It's about remembering that your life still matters, that you can still grow, still laugh, still feel seen without needing anyone's permission. When you begin to live fully, with or without their approval, something magical happens. You become radiant again, and here's the surprising part. People, including your children, begin to notice. Respect often follows independence. When they see that you are not sitting around waiting for their affection or attention, it shifts something in their mind. Asterisk, they may not say it out loud, but they see it. Asterisk, now let's talk about boundaries, because love without boundaries is not love. Asterisk, too many parents accept disrespect because they don't want to lose access to their kids or grandkids. So they tolerate rude behavior, manipulation, or even neglect. But here's the thing, you teach people how to treat you by what you allow. Asterisk, setting a boundary doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you start loving yourself too. Asterisk, let's say your grown child raises their voice at you, or speaks with sarcasm, or always shows up only when they need something. Instead of exploding in anger or silently absorbing the pain, you calmly speak your truth. Asterisk, I don't appreciate being spoken to like that. Asterisk, I'm here for you, but I won't be treated like I don't matter. Asterisk, I love you, but I also love myself too much to be treated this way. Asterisk, you'd be surprised how powerful that can be. Not because it forces them to change, but because It shows you that you're worth protecting, asterisk, and if they don't respect your boundary, you enforce it, maybe you cut the conversation short, maybe you take a step back for a while. Not to punish, but to protect your peace. You are allowed to do that. You are allowed to choose peace over chaos, asterisk. You are allowed to say no to disrespect even from your own child, asterisk. You are allowed to honor yourself, even if others don't, so far. We've talked about stopping the chase, rebuilding your own life, and setting healthy boundaries, asterisk. These steps aren't just for healing your relationship with your children, they're for healing your relationship with yourself, asterisk, because the truth is, when you begin to honor your own value, others slowly begin to reflect that back, not always right away. Not always perfectly, but often in ways you didn't expect, asterisk. Now that we've started walking this road together, finding strength, peace, and purpose again, it's time we dig a little deeper. You're still here with me, and that tells me something powerful. You're not giving up. You're not someone who just lets life pass by quietly while feeling unappreciated. You're someone who's ready to take their life back, one moment, one decision at a time, asterisk. So now that we've talked about stepping back from chasing their approval, rediscovering your own life and setting healthy boundaries, let's talk about something just as important but often overlooked, self-respect through self-care, asterisk. You see, when you take care of your body, your mind, your spirit, you silently send a message to the world. I still matter. And more importantly, you send that message to yourself, asterisk. Now, I'm not just talking about going to the doctor or taking your pills on time, although that's important too. I'm talking about waking up each day and doing one thing that's just for you. Dressing in something that makes you feel good, even if no one's coming over. Eating a meal that nourishes your body, not just fills your stomach. Taking a walk, even if it's just around the yard, because your legs still carry you, and that's a gift, asterisk. When your children see that you take yourself seriously, that you honor your own well-being, it reminds them, this is a person worthy of respect. Because how can we expect others to value us if we treat ourselves like we're no longer important? Asterisk. It's easy to lose that fire when you feel ignored, dismissed, or left behind. But here's a gentle truth. Your worth never depended on their attention in the first place. Asterisk. Let me say that again. Your worth has never depended on their approval, or how often they call, or whether they listen to your advice. It's in your story, your journey, everything you've overcome to get here, asterisk. And I know some of you are thinking, but I just want to feel close to them again. I want them to see me, to care. That's a natural desire. We all want to be seen, especially by the ones we love the most, but sometimes the fastest path back to connection is through letting go of the need to control it. Asterisk. When we stop trying to fix the relationship and start focusing on becoming whole again ourselves, something shifts. The pressure drops, the resentment softens. And ironically, that's often when healing can begin, because we're no longer coming from a place of pain, but from a place of strength. Asterisk. Another powerful way to reset your relationship with your grown children is to stop giving unearned support. Asterisk. Now, I know this one might feel hard, especially if you're the kind of parent who's always said yes. You gave and gave money, time, advice, favors, because that's what love looked like to you, asterisk. But love doesn't mean saying yes to everything. In fact, sometimes love means stepping back and letting your child grow through their own struggle, asterisk. If your child only calls when they need help, financial, emotional, or otherwise, and they don't show basic respect in return, it's okay to say no. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect, asterisk. I'm not in a position to help with that right now. Asterisk. I need to prioritize my own peace right now. Asterisk. I'm here to support you emotionally, but I can't carry this burden for you. Asterisk. You are not a bank. You are not a problem solver on call. You are a whole person whose love should be met with appreciation, not expectation. Asterisk. And here's something else that might surprise you sometimes. Pulling back your constant help forces your adult children to finally stand on their own feet. It may be uncomfortable at first. They might even lash out or accuse you of being selfish. But that's just fear talking, asterisk. When they learn to depend on themselves, They often come to understand what you carried all those years, and with that understanding comes respect. Asterisk, one more thing we need to talk about, and it might be the hardest of all, is forgiveness. Asterisk, not for them. For you, asterisk, because walking around with pain, bitterness, or anger, especially when you feel disrespected, can eat you up from the inside. I'm not saying forget what happened. I'm not saying pretend their behavior is okay. I'm saying set yourself free. Asterisk, forgiveness doesn't mean you accept their actions. It means you refuse to let their actions keep wounding you day after day. You decide, I won't carry this anymore. Asterisk, forgive them for what they didn't understand, for what they were too immature to see, for the way they failed to treat you with the love you gave so freely. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Asterisk, you deserve to sleep at night without that weight in your chest. You deserve to wake up and look in the mirror without anger in your eyes. You deserve to walk through your day knowing but you are still good, still whole, still worthy of joy. Asterisk, so far, we've peeled back the layers of pain and talked about some difficult truths. But what you're doing here right now is a form of strength many people never find. You're choosing growth over resentment, dignity over drama, peace over pressure, and believe me when I say that is how healing begins. Now, there's still more to talk about. Because while self-respect, boundaries, and letting go of approval are powerful tools, there's another piece of the puzzle that truly changes everything. You've come this far with me, and that means something powerful. You're not just surviving. You're choosing to heal, to grow, and to reclaim your place in the world with grace and quiet strength. Asterisk. So now that we've talked about letting go of the chase, setting boundaries, caring for yourself, and forgiving the pain others have caused, let's take the final step, leading by quiet example. Asterisk C. When your children were little, they learned not just from your words, but from your actions. How you handled stress, how you spoke to others, how you treated yourself, and guess what? That doesn't stop just because they've grown up. They're still watching you even if they pretend not to. Asterisk, and here's where your silent strength becomes your greatest teacher. Asterisk, you don't need long speeches to teach respect. You don't need to yell or demand recognition. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply live in a way that honors who you are: calm, kind, consistent, and unshaken. Asterisk, when you start spending time with people who respect you, pursue hobbies that bring you joy, speak with confidence, and carry yourself with quiet pride, that energy changes everything. They may not say it out loud, but your grown children will feel the shift. They'll start to see you not as someone waiting for them, but as someone who stands tall on their own terms. Asterisk, and if they don't? If they still don't acknowledge your worth? Asterisk, that's when you hold yourself even higher, not out of pride, but out of self-respect. Asterisk, because the most beautiful, liberating truth is this: you do not need their permission to be whole. Asterisk, your life is not over just because your role as a hands-on parent has changed. In fact, this chapter, this season is yours to write however you choose. Asterisk, want to volunteer at a local shelter or senior center? Go for it. Want to join a choir, take dance lessons, learn how to play the guitar, or bake cakes for the neighborhood? Why not? Want to travel, write your life story, or sit under the sun with a cup of tea and finally feel peace in your bones? That's yours to claim. Asterisk, the moment you start living for you, something inside heals. It may not fix every relationship. It may not bring your grown children running back with open arms, but it will restore your joy, and that's what matters most. Asterisk now. If your children ever do come back around, if they start showing signs of warmth or regret, welcome them with grace, but not desperation. You don't have to punish them or make them feel guilty, but you can set the tone. Asterisk, let them meet this new version of you, the one who isn't bitter, but isn't broken either. The one who is kind, but no longer allows herself to be walked on. The one who has found peace, even in the silence. Asterisk, and if they don't come around, then you keep walking your path anyway, with your head high and your heart steady. Asterisk, because life is not about waiting for others to treat us right. It's about learning how to treat ourselves right, no matter what. Asterisk, you've given love. You've raised a family. You've sacrificed. You've endured things most people will never see. You have nothing to prove to anyone anymore. Asterisk, let that truth settle into your bones. Let it bring you peace. And let it remind you of this. You are still here, still standing, still worthy of joy, connection, laughter, and respect, whether or not it comes from the people you once poured everything into. Asterisk, so, my friend, if you've ever felt like your children don't respect you anymore, don't shrink, don't beg, don't lose yourself trying to fix what may not be yours to fix. Asterisk, instead, rise. Rise with quiet dignity. Rise with new routines that feed your soul. Asterisk, rise with forgiveness, not to forget, but to be free. Asterisk, rise with the wisdom of someone who has lived, lost, loved, and learned. Rise for you. And as you do, you might just find that the people around you begin to change, to not because you forced them, but because you inspired them. Asterisk, you have power inside you that hasn't faded. It's only been waiting for this moment. Asterisk. So here's my final message to you. Hold your head high. Protect your peace. Live with meaning. And never let anyone, including your own children, convince you that you are anything less than extraordinary. Asterisk, if this message touched you in any way, I'd love to hear your story in the comments. Whether you're healing, growing, or still finding your way, you're not alone. Asterisk, if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. We share messages like this to remind people that wisdom doesn't age, it grows stronger. Asterisk, take care of yourself. Walk in peace, and remember, you are not just someone's parent, you are a soul with value. Asterisk, a heart with purpose, a light that still shines. Here's to living your best life at any age. Asterisk. Sometimes the most difficult truth to accept is that not every relationship can be what we once hoped it would be. Especially when it comes to our own children. We dream of growing old surrounded by love, warmth, and deep connection with the people we raised. And when that picture doesn't match reality, when our adult children pull away, dismiss our thoughts, or treat us as though we're in the way, it can break your heart in ways no one else fully understands. Asterisk, but even in that heartbreak, you still have choices. Asterisk, you can choose to stay stuck in the pain, waiting, hoping, shrinking. Or you can choose to rise with grace, to create joy on your own terms, to plant new seeds in the soil of your life, even if the old branches have stopped blooming. Asterisk, and today, I want to remind you of one last powerful truth. You don't need to erase the past to build a new future. Asterisk, everything you've experienced, the good, the painful, the quiet sacrifices, they have shaped you into someone strong, someone wise, someone who knows what it means to love without conditions, even when that love is not returned the way you hoped. Asterisk, but now, it's time to love yourself with that same devotion. Asterisk, that might mean creating new rituals in your daily life that honor your worth. Maybe you start each morning not with worry about who will call, but with gratitude for what still is. A warm cup of tea, a favorite song, the sound of birds outside your window. These small things are not so small. They are anchors.